All right, I'm here with Corey Bernardo, Form Cycles. Corey, tell us about Form. First off, we've got a little bit of an issue with the owner not being here, right?
Yeah, so Daryl Roberts, our founder, less than 24 hours ago, just had his first child. A couple months early, but thankfully everything is going well. So I'm here with a couple other folks. Sam Davis, one of the original guys with the company, our head machinist, welder. Daryl focuses on running the business, the design. Both of them, their history comes from aerospace.
Okay.
So for years, so meticulous attention to detail. Then they worked for Titus for a number of years, head design, head welding, machining. And now for the last few years have been feeding all of that into Form Cycles out of Sedona.
And the detail that we are seeing here, it is beautiful. So tell us about some of these bikes. And exactly what Form is kind of after with their market. Who are you targeting here?
Sure. So, I mean, we are a complete custom shop, right? And not just geometry, but anything from parts, pieces, machining, we'll do it. Any wheel size, 700C, 650B, 26, 29ers. Our preference, though, metal-wise, is steel and tie. Steel, we do both Ochs Platinum from a tie perspective, and as well as Reynolds 953, which we'll talk about. In tie, it's 3.2 and 6.4, depending on the components. So we brought kind of a sampling of the level of customization that we have.
Where do you want to start? Should we start with the Viaje here?
Sure. Let's start with the Viaje. So Viaje, as most people know, journey, right? This was an idea that Daryl and I had from we wanted to come up with something that was cross between a randonneer monster cross, if you can only afford one bike that you wanted to tour on-road, off-road with it, this was it. So what we did is we took the geometry of our cross bike, the Triad, and the geometry of our 29er, the Prevail, to come up with this geometry. This happens to be specific for me. Front triangle, all 3.2 tie, but then we get into oversized head tube in the 6.4, tapered steer. This particular bike, we partnered with Niner, got their carbon 1.5-inch head tube. I wanted to keep the geometry to, an 80, 100 mil suspension corrected fork. So that you could swap out any options. What's beautiful, we went with a BB30 in the press fit. Press fit because we like the extra seals.
Certainly.
Sam Davis, incredible welder, as you can tell from the welds. So when we were going through and doing the welding, since I travel so much, I wanted S&S couplers, but no beauty rings. So, and you can see by the level of quality of the welds there. Then a lot of little added touches, working with Paragon for custom cable mounts so that the cables are actually separated from and don't run on the tubing. But then all the way along you see a level of customization from mounts, cable mounting to custom S-bend chainstays. So with our S-bend chainstays, the reason for the S-bend, you could put a compact road crank on this, but I very much wanted, because we're using this with fully loaded with panniers,
gear,
I wanted to go not with a triple, but because of the Q factor, but so we've made it, top end SRAM red road with, now it's so compatible with the XX 2x10 crank set. A few other things, we could have put a flat bar on this, which we often do. Specifically wanted a flared drop bar. The Salsa wood chipper, phenomenal for leverage if you're off-road, on-road. A few other custom things that you'll see here. We worked with Paragon to do custom rear dropouts. So I was very specific, didn't want any interference on the seat stay. So we want chainstay mounted disc tabs, right? And then little details, Sam, our welder, did hourglass fender mounts and rack mounts, and then all of our water bottle mounts, bottom, top tube, all three, including the rack mounts, are all welded water bottle mounts as well. So that's the level, and of course we had Stan do 2 set of wheel sets for us, both Crest wheel sets. This showcases, of course, the more off-road 2.9er touring. The other set is set up with our, a cross tire 40 mil 700C semi slick.
Still good clearance.
Yeah, loads of clearance. And so this shows just, you could still get fenders in, still mud clearance, plenty of room for breakaways. But that's the level of customization on this. Kind of a unique thing for us.
Awesome. Let's check out some of the other bikes. Road bike here to look at.
So, road bike. Of course, again, Thai steel. This specifically is Reynolds 953 steel. Hand polished. Daryl hand polished every tube. A labor of love, even before we painted. So, essentially, we started with the idea of the SRAM red crankset and the LTE, the yellow Pantone swatch, and said, what can we build around this, right? This happens to be built for me.
How many of these bikes are yours?
2 of these are mine. Right on. And my wife's standing there, so that's it. Just 2, baby. Lots of customization on here. So the welding is superb. So of course 953, it's a thinner tubing but much harder. So the welding was a bit of a challenge. We did things like the head tube. We had Paragon machine the inside of the head tube. So we're using a Chris King builder inset in it. And then little details like originally we were thinking internally run cables, but we went with, since I'm a Campy fan, little Campy, the original traditional Campy ferrule mounts that we drilled out to be SRAM compatible on the head tube and across the bike to keep the cables. We didn't want any rubbing of the paint. We originally planning decals, but we work with Spectrum powder coat, and when they saw the bike, they said, we can't put decals on this. So they not only masked the stainless through, but then they did all the hand pin striping that you see. Kind of a unique feature. We left the complete half, the rear of the seat stay still in polish. For stiffness, went with not only a hooded dropout, but very hard to come by, in stainless, a BB30 press fit bottom bracket. So from that perspective, you could race this at your local crit. You could go for an all-day ride, comfort. Integrated, just to show what we do, integrated seat masts with custom polishing. And then we have we partner with Envy or Previous Edge Components, and then Zip did the wheel set for us. So very, very proud of this one.
Absolutely beautiful bikes, Corey. Thank you so much for your time and your detail here. Thank you.
Thank you very much. We appreciate it.
Excellent. Thanks, Corey.
Hey.